Okay, July 5th, here, our daily bread. How many of us still read this? My mom and dad read that years ago when I was a kid. I wonder how much it's changed, like other things have changed. I wonder what they had years ago. But I happened to see something the other day, just glancing through this at a soup kitchen I was at. They handing this out to everybody, okay, from their denominational viewpoint. Have hampers there. It's all about government money, getting their little allowance, keep the masses fed a little bit so they don't have a revolution on their hands. Okay? I should turn this way, I guess, because it actually turns out better for people. Anxious. We're told not to be anxious about anything. The difference between eager and anxious. Eager, you're wanting something to happen and believe it will happen. See, most people use the term from fear. Wanting something to happen and afraid it won't happen. Anxious. Well, do we really believe or don't we believe? Anxious about a health issue my teenage niece had. I was relieved when I heard of a promising natural remedy. Okay? So did you check it out more? Okay? Yeah, they don't warn about pharmaceutical much, do they? Revelation 18:23. The word sorcery, from the Greek word pharmakai. It says, my sister, however, when I felt it might cause side effects, based on her daughter's medical history. Okay, I don't know what the medical history is. I wanted to argue, but refrained. You should just maybe encourage her to find out more than just one source of opinion. No matter how concerned. This wants to catch up here. I was about my niece. I had to defer to her mom's authority. Okay. If she's a child, yes. Okay. But once grown up, we're encouraged. We need to encourage our kids to grow up, to go on to maturity. But this is being very childish on their point too. One opinion. Later, a doctor told us that a natural remedy would have caused a strong allergic reaction. A doctor. Most doctors don't like alternative medicine. So, how much does he really know about this? Maybe go seek out a chiropractic or something else, or ask why it would cause a strong allergic reaction. I take lobelia to cough up phlegm. May cause coma. Warnings on the box. Yeah, if I take 2 whole bottles of it. It's nicknamed pukeweed. Yeah, allergic reaction to help it vomit up things. Okay? B? Where's this concern from? This is what they push out to people. And then what? Say a few magic words over them? Maybe tomorrow, their Pentecostal charismatic type day. Yeah, I could have went to the Seventh-day Adventist today. I was debating on it. Might still go. I thought, nah, I'll do a little YouTube here on this. Why? Because they, too, are falling into this trap. It's a trap. Get how many doctors lined up and you probably have how many different opinions. But no. They don't go to the Word of God. Revelation 18:23. They don't like to read this, and oppress not the hireling, execute true judgment. Okay? They don't use this. They want to promote the so-called third temple. Yet it says, the branch he shall build. I believe it should be capitalized. Maybe an old 1611 version was. I should look it up. Once in a while I do some looking up about some word and stuff too. The one young pastor didn't want to read Zechariah chapter 5. There's number 6, the branch. Does he want to read 5 about Jinnah, Iran, the missiles, the talent of lead being fired at Israel? No. They don't want to read it. Yet they are so full of self-esteem, which is a psychology, is just a play on the words. See, doctrine psychology, they put him behind the pulpit where my wife went with the Hebrew group. Oh yeah, she had her candle thing and her bread here last night. Don't have the menorah. Where's the menorah? There's the Star of David over there. The fig tree is more symbolic of Israel. Feast of Trumpets this fall. Okay? 3 more months. Changed that. I wrote it out 4 months ago. Actually, it was the 4th month before September. A month ago, I wrote it out. It's about 80 days right now. July the 5th. Did you get over the July 4th big party day in the U.S.? Okay? We like to have our national holidays and our traditional holidays. Xmas. Fasten it with hammer and nail to the floor. Night decoration. It's the Christmas tree. Jeremiah 11. Now, the Adventists have that too. They pat themselves. They have their pagan birthdays, leaving the mother's womb of Greek. See? They have their Easter bunny, Easter egg, even at the Hebrew place. Okay? Passover is different. But no, they don't want to learn the difference. They like their paganism. Then they pat themselves about the 4th day. The guy knew right well when I asked him one time, so are you a Sabbath keeper or a Saturday keeper? If they're a true Sabbath keeper, why wouldn't they learn that the Passover and these high feast days are referred to as high annual Sabbaths? The word Sabbath means rest day. A colony guy asked me at the mall the other day, I was talking to him. His daughter was there. Interesting guy. Asked me what the word Yeshua actually meant. He had heard it. I told him that it actually, in Hebrew, it actually means salvation. Jesus is our Yeshua. Jesus is our salvation. Depending terminology and how you pronounce it and everything else, so exactness. Looked at his daughter. I says, "What's your dad's name?" Well, I didn't know my dad's name was, formal name was Henry. People called him Harry. Okay? But I knew him as Dad. It's a relationship, Mr. JW. Get off the horse. Paul had to get off, kicked off the high horse. The stick, the goad was made to make the oxen move. And the oxen would kick back when you poked them. Yeah, that's what it's talking about. You kick back at the pricks. Hey, we use terms like that. We're all pricks, us guys. Our stupid Homer Simpsons. The women want to run the show. The guy from the colony told me it's on the colony, Stu. The women want to run the show. Oh, isn't that cute? There was some barbecue yesterday. During the big Calgary Stampede, you have these breakfasts around, and some places even have burgers and stuff. And some people from the colony were there. The one lady was asking me who gives out the tickets. Okay. I talked to her a little bit. Maybe that's why later on he told me that even on the colony, the ladies want to run the show. Yeah, it's a constant struggle between, even the kids want to run the show. We see it in the stores. They make a fuss until they get what they want. Yeah. 1, you warn them. 2, you tell them what disciplinary action is going to happen. And 3, you follow through. There's no negotiation. Okay? My 3 sons, stepson is 4th. Where is this picture? Don't have it here now. Okay. My wife, Filipino. One wife at a time. Jacob had 2 wives. Not in trouble. Was 77 years old. Left when he was 84. With Rachel and Joseph after 7 years. But he first married Leah when he was 77. Israel was 77 last month. Okay? Malachi, behold, I will send you Elijah. Shall suddenly come in the temple. Well, after. Okay. Send Elijah. Behold, the day cometh. People say, well, it's on the Old Testament. We don't want to read that. They want to read this part. Will man rob God? You bring the whole tithe into the storehouse. Da 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 da. Being a little sarcastic, of course, but this is what they go. They want to pick and choose. But you press the higher link. Guy in 52nd in Calgary here, Astro Mini Mix. His mom's running the show more. His dad's not around anymore. His mom's still buying up stuffed auctions. He wants to rent out more little small shops. He gets better. He's paying big rent. Taxes on the place is $17,000 a month. Wow. Here's one that Adventists like to teach. These are the 2 anointed ones stand by the earth. But they want to teach that Revelation 11 is the Old and New Testament, really. On and on and on it goes. I would say too much. They really don't like it. I got kicked out of one of these places. I'm being kicked out. Fulfill Revelation. It says they will cast you out. You get your adrenaline pumping. Okay? Get you out of your doldrums. Go do what he asks. Peter had to get out of the boat and got dunked again. How many of us only got dunked once, maybe even just as an infant? Okay? What do these places teach? Falsehoods? Huh. Oh, that's just the other group down the road, you know, the Mormons, the JWs, pointing finger at everybody else. That's not what this book says. It says examine ourselves first. No prophecy. Hey, some teachers no prophets around anymore. Huh? I guess God ain't doing anything anymore. What? Of course he is. Well, then there's prophets around because he says he does nothing without telling his prophets first. See how they want to have their cake and eat it too? They want to teach what they want to teach. Revelation 11. Here we go. 2,203 score clothed in sackcloth. Well, guess what? That just happens to be 42 months. Oh. But they want to teach it a day is a year type thing to fit into their particular viewpoints. Really. Well, some things they do have fairly accurate. Okay. Most people think Revelation 13, but the Adventists go in their old controversial book, Great Controversy, that's what it's called. It has about the colonies, I pick up. He leadeth into captivity, shall go into captivity. Well, Napoleon, I wrote it down here, took 2 popes captive. General Berthet under Napoleon took the pope captive back to France, and the first pope died in prison in France. And then they elected another one. Napoleon did it again. That's why the Swiss Guard is at the Vatican. I saw the Swiss Guard still there at the Pope's, you know, the nice fancy yellow colored hats. The Swiss Guard. Can't believe everything you see on screen TV, but I happen to think that was real, not AI generated. Okay. Causes all rich and poor to receive a mark in their right hand or on their forehead, that no man should buy or sell. Does not say will not. See, might or should, depending on the version, is conditional. It's more and more difficult to do it. It's called barter. The government doesn't like that unless it's a computerized barter system registered with them because they want their slice of the action, taxes. Okay? What else is new? Trying to hide taxes away. Al Capone did jail time in Alcatraz for what? Tax evasion. Not the racketeering. But Trump's a no one felon. Oh, like give it a rest. Okay. Now they said something about the Air India plane. I guess it could be something to do with the computer senders on the flaps and blah, blah, blah. I really wonder. Pakistan is at war with India. Come on. The river there is dried up that runs into Pakistan because they put the dam on it and they use that much irrigation. Hey, maybe if they use drip irrigation. My uncle learned it. Where did he learn it from? Oh, well, we don't want to learn from others. We just like to do our own thing our own way, right? So what if it causes harm to the neighbors and use up all the water? On and on and on. The Revelation 14, this is a good one. First fruits unto God. Who is this? Mr. JW, some of your first select members in the future. I differ with that one. You ever been to a memorial? Yeah, they were memorialing until he resurrected. Okay, Revelation 14, verse 4. JW's color Passover thing, a memorial. Why? You ever been at a funeral? Well, pretty sober, okay? It's not a party. What was I going to? Matthew 27. Matthew 27 has something there. It's quite interesting. Always go to this. How can we understand the present if we don't understand the past correctly? This happened. The graves and the bodies which slept arose after his resurrection. See, they tried to bribe the guards to hide it away. On and on and on. After his resurrection. This is on the day called first fruits, plural. They say it's not confirmed. So what? It's not confirmed in the other Gospels. So what? It's confirmed in other places in his written word. Yeah. So he didn't inspire the other ones to confirm that entirely. So what? If you didn't have the other Gospels, would you not believe it? No, they try to hide it away. They try to discredit it. I'm looking for 1 Thessalonians. The T's are all together. Where's T's? Here. And in some Bibles, they mess up the order of it. In the Hebrew one, they even put Daniel in separate from the prophets like Isaiah. Why? They don't like it. So they hide it away. Okay? Which sleep in Jesus. I wrote it here, Matthew 27:52. Okay? See, how much emphasis do we put on the little subtitles and little hints? But you can see I just wrote this in, so, that's not important. It's got to be printed in there, and then it's important. Really? Why? Because this is just some old fart that wrote this in. But hey, this is accurate. Yeah. Oh, my grandmother didn't like this altogether, But every morning, my mom and dad were reading this after Dad got in from feeding livestock some. Give them breakfast first, and then he'd come in and have some breakfast. And most kids were just getting out of bed. Okay, we're getting ready to go get on the school bus in freezing cold temperatures. Yeah, in Saskatchewan. And get ready during the holidays to go to Kansas. Take my grandmother down there. I wanted to stay down there. Okay, volume 6, blah, blah, blah. Scripture taken Holy Bible, New International Version. See how they've modernized it? Copyright, 1973, 78, 84, 2011, copyright. Used by permission, all rights reserved, blah, 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 blah. So who puts it? Canadian Center for Christian Charities. There you go. Christian Charities. We've got to have a government okay on that one. Okay. Reach people. Your support helps. See? Okay. Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's where the Adventists are, down in Battle Creek, Michigan. I was there one time. Yeah. Went to their seminary one time in Macomb, Alberta. Walked away from it. I learned about psychology. Read Dave Hunt's books. I got a car all the way to Winnipeg. Wasn't even Shouldn't even got there. I got it fixed on the way. A rather amazing story on that too. Okay. Seduction of Christianity Beyond Seduction. The guy in Red Deer, Alberta, gave me this book called Psycho-Heresy by Bodkin. Read it. Oh, we wouldn't want to have that on the shelf. No, the guy had it put in his back room. He gave it to me. He said, because I was talking to him about this class they wanted me to take. I was told it was a mandatory class to get your degree. So don't tell me these preachers aren't. That's what they're schooled in. It's a form of godliness denying the power. The Bible says to put it away. But what do? Give them a diploma and put them behind the pulpit now. That's who you're listening to. You go to seminary and learn what? Learn psychology. A psychologist has a doctorate degree. Doctor of what? Doctor of witchcraft? Doctor of psychology. He heard the name, the book. He didn't believe he needs to read it. He doesn't want to read it. That's his income. That's his profession. Put him behind the pulpit. What are we listening to? Oh, just the falsehood. Oh, that's just in the future, isn't it? It says many. What? You don't even teach people to get in the dunked. I was totally shocked. The guy from Lethbridge came up here. I had to walk in the water myself. They wouldn't do me again. Why? They were reluctant. Only one time in Israel, they were reluctant to do it. My wife got in the water too. Only because I kind of did it. What's she off to now? Hey, she just goes from the one boat, her Sunday group, to the Hebrew Sabbath group. From one boat to the next. That's what they're doing. This book says to get out of the boat. See, the curtain was torn from top to bottom. Well, they teach that, but then they want people to come in like if they're the high priest. Guy was teaching last. Korah, stay in the Korah. Don't question the hierarchy. The priests, they're on the chair of Moses, didn't you know? Hey, the ground might open under you, and Korah is tormented in hellfire. Really? He was consumed. He's waiting for the resurrection to stand before his king. This is Canaanite teaching. The spirit hovers around for 3 days. That's what the Orthodox Jew believes. And they traveled the Mediterranean before they were enslaved. That's why Romanism has in Italy has some similarities to even the Orthodox Jews. Yeah. Come on. All the way back to Cain and Abel. The Adventists teach a little bit about that. See, you can learn some of these things from others. Okay? Just don't get in the boat. Get in your little canoe and paddle your own direction. I learned that business-wise years ago. You called for a workman, creating unto good works. Works is something we do for God, about His business. See, we take the word work thinking it's just something we do to earn for ourselves. Put the word action in. If you really believe in something, why don't you act accordingly? If you can believe you can walk on the water, make a joke about it, it's called ice. It's frozen water. I don't know what Jesus did. Maybe he's such a cool character that the water just froze under his feet. I don't know. He walked on the water. Who made the water? He can make it freeze under his feet. Okay? I don't know. Here, flying roll. Told commentaries. It wasn't for them to know. The mystery is being revealed when we need to know it. A dispensation, a time we're born in. It sounded not too bad before 1948. It happened. I'm born after 1948. My grandmother plainly taught that I'm called to walk in, and I believe she was teaching that before us from the time of the Balfour Declaration. People fell to the wayside. I learned that at one function here, Hebrew function with Passover or something. Yeah. But what did we teach? And now the generation that's born after 1967, when they took Jerusalem in 6 days. Why 6 days? And there was a 4-blood moon, a timeline marker. April 8th, 2024, the solar eclipse occurred, formed a capital A over all of North America, including Mexico and Canada. Whoa, just another shadow of the sun, the Canadian guy says. Just another shadow of the sun. Yeah, okay. The solar eclipse across Eastern Europe before and during the First World War, every country under those solar eclipses all fell. The Ottoman Empire included. Ask some of the Islamic people. They know that. Okay? The one guy's wife had to remind him was Ramadan. He swears and curses like the East Coasters. He's so perverted in his mind. Unbelievable. The one guy thinks he can have 2 wives. I should ask my wife that, if I can have 2 wives. Huh? Think you agree with that? Yeah. Fun time in the old city today. It's Calgary Stampede time. Oh, the girls are all dolled up. Oh boy. Party time. 9 months later, might have more births in Alberta here. Wonder why. Well, how many won't even admit to having kids? Guys in Panama now. Wonder why he likes Panama better than Costa Rica. Maybe the brothers find him in Costa Rica. He might be in big trouble. Won't admit to having kids, just like going to the bar and having a good time. Yeah. Okay. Wonder if this says anything about that in here in this daily bread. See, this is not an Adventist book. You won't find this in the dentist. This is more of a Sunday book. You want to debate this Sunday? I'll debate it with the Adventists, their day. Why? I agree with their Sabbath. But they're not true Sabbath because they don't keep the true Sabbath. They're still into paganism of Easter. Okay? I don't believe he even resurrected on Sunday. 72 hours were already over from the time of the first Sabbath. Full 3 days and the full 3 nights in the grave. He resurrected before the sun went down Saturday evening. Saturday evening was already in Hebrew culture the beginning of the next day. The 72 hours were already over. The stone only had to roll away for the ladies to look in when they went there early, maybe even before the sun was up. See? So I'll debate even the day with the Adventist. Because what are they doing? They just pat themselves on the back about the 7th day Saturday when they forget the 10th commandment. Covetousness. Why? It's highly esteemed in our society. That's what causes true love to wax cold. Wax cold. It's not in the other versions. How does waxing a candle turn cold? And they changed the word iniquity, what we do knowingly and willfully transgressing his written word, not the laws of the land. Okay? Point fingers at everybody else. Oh, but we want to have a tax deduction. Well, you don't have that in Nigeria and the Philippines and other countries, but see, tax deduction, an atheistic government system. Do you get the drift? They have to compromise to the 10th degree to keep that tax deduction. Compromise, compromise, compromise. This generation shall not pass away. The colony guy asked me about, but we'll take it in context. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. The fig tree. More true emblem of Israel than the Star of David is. But people don't want to take that Moloch down. Make jokes about people arguing over the carpet, but they'll come Christmas time. Oh, they had a big argument. Had people that rent the building for their Sunday functions. They rent it out, and they wanted a Christmas type tree in there. Oh, that was a big deal. But they're okay with the Star of David there. Okay, Star of David. Okay, can you see that from here? Yeah, there's the globe. It's on the sideways slope right now. We always think that Antarctica's on the bottom. Australia makes a joke about that. It's psychologically depressing to be down under. Hey, so which way is it turned? No, it's not totally round, but don't go to that extreme thinking it's flat. See, we go from one extreme to the next. The road is narrow. The devil, Satan, does not care which ditch we're in. Take us from one extreme to the next. The latter state has become worse than the first. What does it mean? You got interested, got hooked. Then they take you into their boat. Peter had to get out of the boat. But what are they teaching? Sounds nice. You're going to be preserved in the ark like Noah. Well, they both died. And in context with what? They both died. They have to be resurrected. He's the God of the living. He doesn't look forward to us dying. We don't have to die. Matthew 20:22 says, many are called, few are chosen. Enoch had to be counted worthy. That's why I got in the water again. I'm not perfect. I struggle with things. Many are called, but few are chosen. Repent and be baptized. So I got in the water again. Okay. How many times Naaman got dunked 7 times? Elijah told him to do it. Elijah wasn't even there. Philip, when he dunked the Ethiopian eunuch, did not have to come back to Jerusalem and ask their conference what their opinion was and ask Peter's permission. He just did it. So also at Chestnut Lake, I just did it. Nobody wants it. I just walked in myself. And the Lord showed me. Yeah, Philip didn't have to ask. Later was taken by the Spirit to the coastal area. Probably walked out of the conference. Oh, where are you going, Philip? I think the Lord is calling me. And they'd say, no. You're supposed to stay here. Really? No, he wasn't. But see, this is what they teach. Surely God would have told them all. Really? An abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet. That's not talking about some dietary thing or some future third temple. We saw the hologram in Israel, but they don't want to discuss it. I reached out to touch the wall. There was no wall to touch. I got a YouTube on that. Look it up. Okay? There's my name, number, everything. I'm not hiding. Okay? Got a little place here back door. Got a little place to barbecue things. We just got moved in here lately. Got a spare bedroom. Yeah. My wife might argue about that. I slept on the couch here. Why? Hey, I got problems up using the washroom half the night and stuff. My wife, waking her up. Okay. Yeah, well, she ticks me off big time too. Does her thing. She calls me hubby. How much respect. I'm just a Homer Simpson. The guy in the colony. Maybe that's why he said it too. He knows it. The women want to run the show. See? I got kicked right out of a 7-day Adventist where they're talking. I said, Adam told Eve. Read it. No, they don't like that. The lady gave her husband an elbow. Yeah, he got up. I knew what was coming. He got at somebody else and grabbed by the shoulders and thrown right out the door. Yeah, later on, some people left the place, went to the Hebrew group. They came to me and said, you know, if you hadn't brought it up, we'd still be there. Hey, maybe that's what I'm called to do sometimes. Are you called to stir up the pot? Oh, you're going to be accused. You can be sure of that. Because, you know, it's their sheep. Really? You went out to farm the last sheep. You hire somebody to look after the sheep. They're hirelings. And they have to answer to influential board members and stuff. And the wives run the show. Even at this Hebrew place. The own son admitted it at their anniversary. The mom that runs the show. The guy's got a sheep farm. This is his dad's sheep farm. Yeah. But the wife runs the show. Big time. The receptionists run the show. Really. Got to get past the gatekeeper to say some of these people. It's a political thing. The same gatekeeper is still at the MLA's office, at the former premier of the province. Yeah. I gave him the note at the big political function about the young guy from Airdrie being dragged out of his car. He wasn't a drug addict. Yeah. Get involved. Pray for your leaders. Well, I live in Calgary, Alberta, so how come I'm not down at the city council? It used to be till 9 o'clock at night. Not anymore. The management are running the show. They didn't like to stay after hours. Okay. Got a nice big management job, but didn't want to be home too. On and on and on. Who's running the show? Okay? Is he really the king? Is he really running the show? Being led by his spirit in harmony with his written word? Who's running the show? Hey, Adam should have corrected Eve. He didn't. It just accidentally happened. No, it was ordained from the foundation of the earth. Because we're called to vindicate his name. How do you prove it in a courtroom? By testimony of witnesses. And every other way leads to death and destruction and chaos. So even when we don't choose his ways, we're still examples to the rest of creation that his ways lead to life and freedom and liberty. He's a God of the living, not the God of the dead. And the Mormon took one verse out of context, and the dead. Okay. Really. He doesn't look forward to us dying, but he said he'll resurrect us. But what do you got? Canaanite teaching. Okay? No, not the scriptures accurately, nor the power of God. Why? They got psychology, human reasoning, human understanding. Well, Elijah didn't go to the third heaven. Really? Where did he go? What does it say? The rapture's not in the Old Testament. Rapture is Latin. What languages they have above the cross? Even the 10-year-old daughter from the colony knew it. not real well, but those 3 languages out there. They're under Roman occupation. That's Latin. Okay? Get with it. It's terminology. It's harpozo in Greek, which is a common language, and Hebrew. 3 languages on top of the cross. Why? Psalms 90. The rapture's not in the Old Testament. Well, what's it talking about? An airplane? It's not talking about our personal age. Israel is now 77 years old. Jacob was 77. And there was 3 harvests in the fig tree and an optimal good year. The guy was from Israel. And he didn't know that. Well, I'm sorry. Time to learn some things. Giving me static about not being a pastor. I said, what? You know I'm not called to be a pastor. But see, they don't even acknowledge the evangelists anymore. Everybody's called to evangelize, the guy says. Really? Elijah mentored Elijah. And Elisha knew that his time was up. That's why Elijah didn't want to go anywhere without being with him. They knew the time was up. Captivity captive. For the rebellious also. Samson, like a lot of us, are a little bit rebellious when it comes to the our lady friends, right? The guy, wife allows the guy to go to Thailand by himself. What? Are you so naive? I think she just looked the other way. She knew right well what's going on. My wife thinks I should go to the Philippines by myself. I said, nah, I'm not going by myself. And gets jealous if I even look at anything here. Yeah, I better not look anyway. Lust of the eyes and lust of the flesh and pride of life. Oh, we're so smart. We got a diploma. Rippy-doo-ding. Chariots of God were 20,000, even thousands of angels. Who was with him? He didn't come just once as a babe in a manger. There's no sheep in the high country of Israel in December. There is in September during the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay? And he came and tabernacled amongst man. That's 9 months after Hanukkah. But see, they don't want to recognize the conception. They don't want to recognize this and that. And they have their pagan birthday at their technical Sabbath day, Saturday day. It gets annoying, you know. They just go on, and they don't want to change. They don't want to learn. As in Sinai. So that isn't talking about Sinai, but it's making a reference that it happened at Sinai too. The Lord and the chariots were as in Sinai, in the holy place, right? Holy place. Is that the temple? I don't think it's referring to the temple here, where he is. The burning bush. Take off your shoes, Moses. Led captivity captive. This is when he resurrected those from the grave. Matthew 27. This is a reference to that, I believe. Thou hast received gifts from men. But it talks about we'll throw the crowns back to him. He's worthy, not us. The ambassadors will be given positions for the rebellious also. Paul just kind of left that last part off. He had enough issues dealing with these people anyway. You want to bring that can of worms up. Okay. I should look for some cloth candies, but yeah. I have this respiratory problem. I take this, especially in the wintertime. Okay? Medicinal. Oh, this is powerful stuff. It's nicknamed this from a French court case. It's got cinnamon and everything else. They're grave robbers. They weren't scared to take the gold out of the rich people that died from the plagues. So the court was a little bit more lenient if they told them why they weren't. They were spice merchants. They made this formulation. Real powerful. Just a one little drop on your finger, under your tongue. Do it twice and your eyeballs are watering. Colloidal silver. Okay. Put this on my eyelids. They got kind of dry. Well, maybe I'm looking at the sunlight directly. You get red light therapy from that. So I use this to keep my eyelids kind of moistened. Animals instinctively know to do this. I saw the cat one day laying in the shade, but had its eyeballs right on the edge, looking directly at the sun. What was it doing? But no. We wouldn't want to spell that out in this book here. Anxious. See, this is how twisted this book is. Okay? It's not going to spell out Revelation 18:23. Huh? Would we follow this stuff? Huh? What nonsense. Get in his written word. The guy got baptized the second time. And within the week, he said it has so much more meaning to it. Why? The Holy Spirit power came on Jesus. He's our example. He's our Yeshua. He didn't need to be baptized for salvation. What are they teaching? This is Canaanite Romanism. Okay? Canaanite. Okay? See, the Messiah we cut off. But what do they teach? Verse 27's in the future. No, it's in context with the rest. It's talking about the middle of the week he was cut off. I should have the menorah here. 7 candles on the menorah. My wife had a Hanukkah. Oh, we'll just add a couple more candles on it during Hanukkah. Where does it say that in the scriptures, Mr. Hebrew Exactness? Rabbi Singer had it behind him for how long? It's like witchcraft. And he doesn't want to read other things. Tries to discredit Paul and the New Testament and everything else. Did Isaiah 29 not happen? Ariel Sharon went into 8-month coma. Come on, Mr. Ravi Singer. Call me. No, they don't want to debate people that know what they're talking, right? Just debate the ones that you know you're comfortable debating with. Really. Living waters go out from Jerusalem. How they're surviving in Gaza. This is happening now. Okay? But what are they going to teach? All the saints with thee. There's no resurrection from the Mount Olives. I have taught that as a kid. When he comes in Mount Olives, people are going to be resurrected. Mr. Super Rich Jew buried there. Sorry, you don't buy your way into his kingdom. Okay? Go sell all you have and help the poor and the needy, Mr. Joel Richardson. Right. Made fortune from making movies. What kind of movies did you make? Okay. All the saints. See, the ambassadors are already chosen. I shared that with Lutheran pastor. He was quite shocked. Okay. Yeah. But he had another teaching about hellfire. Oh. Well, unless you're the beast and the false prophet, don't worry about it. They're thrown into the lake of fire. Okay? And dipping your finger in the water is going to quench a fiery thirst. It's not saying it is that way. It's a hyperbole. Same as Matthew 22, I believe. Not cast into outer darkness, outer space, and come back. People aren't going to believe you anyway. That's what he said. Even if they come back from the grave, they're not going to believe you. They don't want to believe the truth. They want to rather believe a lie. Everything continues just as it is. Really? They try to discredit Noah's flood and everything. It's nothing new. They're constantly trying to discredit. They tried to discredit King James after he was dead. Why? You can discredit the book if you can discredit the king. There's nothing new. He's the king of kings, and they're trying to discredit him. And he is coming back. And the graves were opened. It just goes on and on and on. Every 1,000 years. See, we've fallen into the trap of going here. See? 2 feet, right? Some people lost a foot. I'm sorry to hear that. But the neck up is worth more than neck down. We can hire people in a wheelchair, kind of robotic. Well, maybe you'll monitor the robotics, harvest the mushrooms and strawberries in a wheelchair. But 2 feet into one shoe. He didn't just come once. He walked with Adam and Eve in the garden. And he didn't just state he's coming a second time. He said he's coming again. He came every 1,000 years. What's being taught? Hey, I had to learn this stuff too. And I'm still learning. Even after I got dunked again. Naaman had dunked 7 times. Should study him more. Elijah told him. You think, wow, I don't want to go down to the muddy river, Jordan. You know, the guy, servant, encouraged him. Well, what does it matter? Do you want to get healed or not? When we shall do his will, Mr. Pentecostal, then we shall receive what was promised. See? What do they want to teach? Say some magic words over somebody else, and maybe an odd time it happens. Glory to God. Most of the time it doesn't. And people look and say, oh, I guess your God doesn't really want to. No, when we shall do his will. Get out of the boat. Go help the poor and the downtrodden. William Booth did this. He opened his home up. He didn't sit in a place and expect the government to pay for all the stuff. That's why Solomon had so many wives, probably, and a concubine. That was part of their social welfare system. They had this down in South America and Bolivia. 70 or 80% of the men were killed in the wars. They're going to suffer a major population decline. So there's a time and season for everything. Go stay with the king. Guy came from Europe, Gustafson was his name. Oh, God, my eyes opened up. There was a family in Saskatchewan, same name. I wonder where they got the money to buy the farmland. Practically maybe royal family from Europe. Guy was a banker in Hong Kong. How'd he get the job? Head of ING for all of Southeast Asia. He need a little diploma, maybe. His grandfather had a castle in England. Practically royal family. How some of the politicians get their positions. Yeah, they're connected somewhere or another. They're connected, a lot of them. Walter Ariel. Ariel who? Sleeps a deep sleep, Mr. Ravi Singer. You gonna deny your state of Israel? Well, this has already happened. Yeah. In Psalms 90, fly away. They don't want to believe that. What? They want to believe what they want to believe. These 2 books are almost the same. I got another one somewhere. A little bit different. The Branch. Who's the branch? And he shall build in the future, after he comes. But this is already happening. Talent of lead from Shinner, Iran. Where we got? Just over an hour. Okay. Gonna cut it short here. Okay. Got an hour long. Need to download this now. I talked about the Adventist enough. I was thinking of going there again. I don't know, just... The JW guy came out of JW because he understood the Sabbath, so now he's going there. They have some similarities. They believe in soul sleep, the resurrection. Okay, they talk about that. I kind of appreciate that. They're more pre-trib, yes. The guy from Lethbridge said he was still mid-trib, or called pre-wrath. It's just terminology. Okay, don't get all hung up on it. But the way my thinking is, he came every 1,000 years. See, that fits the two witnesses in after this coming event. See, most people aren't going to believe it. And most people will be from the grave. So go drive through the graveyard a little bit after September and see if something has happened. I did it last year. Well, people were suggesting I drove through the graveyard. I didn't see very many graves opened up. And there might not be very many, especially in North America here, with our lukewarmness. Huh? Team. North America, we have a real problem coming out of our pre-trib thing. Mr. American. People that have lost lots of family members in some war-torn country have less trouble coming out of pre-trib. A lot of them, some go all to the next extreme, post-trib. Hey, a lot just go into this pan-trib. They don't want to just make controversy. It'll pan out in the end. It'll pan out in the end, all right. You maybe have to wait until after the 1,000-year reign. Then you'll be resurrected, stand before the king. And then he said, I told you to be hot or cold. Get off the fence. Okay? Hey. And teachers shall be held more accountable for what they're teaching. You think you're smart enough to be a teacher? You will be held more accountable. You're the musician, stick to your knitting. Omar, Count to Omar in Hamilton, Ontario. I tried to tell him. No, he doesn't want to listen. Got an email. Well, sorry, I'm not into the high-tech stuff as much as my wife does that. My email's a disaster. Got all this spam on it and everything else. I should shut, okay? Most people use a phone or a text message. He didn't like that. Didn't like that. Then he's saying he makes words, Aaron, you make statements that you're willing to discuss things, willing to be corrected, but you must have an email. I was on some of your lines and trying, what? No. It's just a blank statement saying, oh, I'm willing to be corrected. I tried to tell you it wasn't going to happen. Count your own word. Pentecost already happened, 1st century AD. Count to Omar from the first Sabbath. Why? How many weeks later? I believe that Daniel, we're told, was buried in Babylon. How many? That's about 7 weeks of walking with a Sabbath day off. He walked all the way from Babylon. He's a youthful virgin again. Revelation 14. We're all going to be youthful virgins again. That's why they couldn't find Lazarus at the dinner party. And no, he didn't die again, Mr. Guru thinks you're so smart. What? What are you teaching? Why do you think Jesus didn't recognize on the garden road until he spoke? You can use voice print now in a courtroom. It's like fingerprints. They recognized him when he spoke. Why? Because he wasn't 33 years old when he was resurrected. He was youthful again. Lazarus was youthful virgin again. But when some people didn't want their older kids to be married, now they're getting married anyway. Good. Guy's so arrogant. It's pathetic. Cannot never admit to doing anything wrong. Blames his kids for being 45 minutes late at the funeral. Just say you're sorry. You don't have to make all the reasons why. Just say you're sorry that you're typically late for everything. Because you really don't care. You don't care that let your nay be nay and your yea be yea. You don't care. One guy, I met him. Later on, charged the other guy less for the pressure wash truck. I was trying to get into it, maybe. Took it away from me. On and on and on. But the guy told me when I first met him, well, we just go look at the truck because he never shows up on time. The guy knew. The guy did a website for him. One guy was totally cheesed off. Shut down their other homemade website. Gonna have a nice fancy website. He says, well, at least I had something. Now I got nothing. Just dragged his feet off. His older son was doing more of the website. He has no, well, maybe that's from his background. His father was a banker. Oh, I wonder if he just showed up whenever he wanted. The one banker knew that the plumber was making better money than he was. He didn't want to put the time in year after year trying to get a promotion within the bank. He went for dinner with the plumber. Went into business with the plumber to get the master franchise. He knew the guy was good for it and didn't have a squeaky clean credit rating. Yeah, they went into business together. We were at a plumbing place yesterday. We were discussing that a little bit. They had a nice barbecue. I talked to the Asian guy. He was Cantonese. And Cantonese is tomorrow at the one Alliance place in town here. And most of the baptized were from the first one. The Mandarin is later on. Mandarin is from the mainland. I get this connect. I think the Cantonese are from Hong Kong. They know English a little bit better there. Guess that was a British colony. I was there twice learning things. Okay. Big electronic show. So you booked the show first, so now it's a tax write-off. Okay. I was there twice. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Daniel. Send you Elijah before the great and terrible day of the Lord. Okay. I wrote this down here. About a little bit of Elijah. Da 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 da. Okay. Hour and 8 minutes. Okay. I'm gonna cut. I need to go to the washroom here. My bladder. I really need to do some fasting again, but kind of bad time because pre-breakfast and everything else.